This week we're going to be reading two Parshiot. The reading of Vayakhel and Pekudei are combined. Generally on years when we have one Adar, we combine four groups of two Parshiot in order to make it on time in terms of when we're going to read the Parshiot before Pesach and then before Shavuot. Everything is arranged in Jewish calendar in a certain way, so that certain Parshiot fall before a certain time period. For example, right before Shavuot, we usually read Parshat Bamidbar. At any rate, when the year is leap, meaning we have an extra month of Adar, Jewish leap year means an extra month, not an extra day. So there are four Parshiot, four extra Shabbatot usually, and four Parshiot are read separately. And in particular, this group, the last two weekly readings of Sefer Shemot, are read separately, Vayakhel and Pekudei. And this year is a regular year, not a leap year, and therefore we read them together. And one of the first things the Torah tells us when Moshe comes down from the mountain after the last 40 days is the keeping of Shabbat. Very important principle, of course. Shabbat is central in the Torah. It's mentioned many times from the very beginning of Torah, during the creation, the seventh day, and then further in Parshat Beshalach, in Parshat Yitro, in Parshat Mishpatim. We kept having Shabbat mentioned already in at least 5 or so Parshiot so far. And now, in Parshat Vayakhel, when Moshe comes down from the mountain, it says, do not burn fire on the day of Shabbat, on the day of the Sabbath. So the simple meaning seems to be that it's emphasizing that as opposed to regular Yom Tov, a holiday, when the Torah told us in Parshat Bo that on holidays you're allowed to do work that's needed for food. So that includes burning fire in certain cases and cooking. That's true on Yom Tov, but not on Shabbat. On Shabbat, even burning fire or increasing the fire, none of these things are permitted on Shabbat. All of this is forbidden. And one of the reasons it mentions it here, and in general it mentions the Shabbat right before the commandment to build the tabernacle, that the Jewish people were now told. We already learned about it in Parshat Truma, but now Moshe is going to tell about this commandment in our Parsha. So before telling the Jewish people to build the tabernacle, Moshe also told them that you have to keep Shabbat, meaning you have to stop all the work when Shabbat comes, which means that the type of work that's needed to build the Mishkan, to build the tabernacle, that's the type of work that's forbidden on Shabbat. In fact, the Talmud in the tractate Shabbat usually tries to prove various types of work. There are 39 categories of work that's forbidden on Shabbat, how they were performed in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, and that's how we learn what is forbidden on Shabbat. But in particular, the burning of fire it says specifically B'yom HaShabbat, on the day of Shabbat, in order to emphasize that it's only on Shabbat that burning fire is forbidden. That's how Magid Misharim explains that there were certain sectarians in our history, they were called Karaim. They used to not allow not only to burn the fire on Shabbat, but even to let the fire continue burning from before Shabbat. So they were against, for instance, Sabbath candles, such an important custom that we have, which preserves, of course, the peace in the house. They would sit in the dark, basically, because they thought that you're not allowed to have any fire, even burning from before Shabbat. So the Magid Misharim says that the reason the Torah emphasizes on the day of Shabbat, is to tell us that it's only on Shabbat that kindling fire is forbidden. But you're allowed to kindle fire before Shabbat. On the contrary, it's a mitzvah in a certain sense, like I said. The burning of the Shabbat candles, that usually our women light the Shabbat candles, it's one of the specific mitzvot that is more applicable to the women. But of course, if the man lives alone, or his wife is in a hospital at the moment, whatever, then of course he lights the candles. So the candles have to be lit before Shabbat. It's a mitzvah. And in particular, the Torah wants to emphasize it specifically in the written Torah, as opposed to many laws of Shabbat that are learned only in the Talmud. This is a specific law that the Torah emphasizes in the written Torah, so that everybody knows how important it is to keep Shabbat, and in particular not to light fire. It's the most common work. If you think about it, it's one of the most common works on Shabbat. Driving a car ignites the fire. Of course, using all kinds of ovens and gas ranges and smoking a cigarette, all of these things, and even turning on the electric light, according to most opinions, it involves some kind of work that's related to burning fire. Even though there are some disputes about it, what exactly is the prohibition of turning on the light. All Orthodox Jews do not turn the light on Shabbat. We leave what's called electric timer, some kind of a machine that leaves that turns on and off whenever we need to from beforehand. We arrange it. Or, for instance, if one wants in his bedroom a kind of lamp that will not disturb his sleep, but he doesn't know at what time. He doesn't want to put a timer that will turn on and off at specific times. So there is a lamp, a Shabbat lamp, that simply has a cover that turns 90 degrees and covers the entire part that where the light comes through, meaning we don't turn off the actual lamp. The lamp is on the entire Shabbat, 24 hours. But the cover of it can rotate, and when it's in one position, all the light comes through. And when it's in 90 degrees turned, that cover covers entirely the area from which the light comes through. So that's the kind of Shabbat lamp that I have, and in every room of my house, in every bedroom of my house, we have a lamp like that. It's not very expensive and it's very comfortable. It's not expensive nowadays to leave the light for 24 hours. It's LED lights that are very cheap, and this way, when I need the light, I turn the cover in a way that the light comes out, and then when I want to sleep, I just turn it 90 degrees, and no light can come out. It only remains inside the lamp. So these are the types of things we do because we do not allow to turn on electricity on Shabbat. But there is a dispute exactly what the level of the prohibition is. The majority of the poskim, of the great rabbis, think that there is a biblical prohibition, that it's similar to fire in a certain sense, or at least there is some way in which it's forbidden. There are other opinions that it's forbidden not because of fire, but because of other reasons. But whatever it is, there are all kinds of possible categories of work, of mlacha, that is broken when a person turns on the electric light on Shabbat. So therefore, the Torah specifically mentions this particular labor, this particular work, the mlacha of kindling fire, because it's such a common thing, and in all the future generations, the Jews who are loyal to the Torah will be observing it and will know and will read this passage every time in Parshat Vayakhel. And if you like this video, please press like and please subscribe to our channel.